Deron Rippey Jr., a five-star point guard in the class of 2026, has his first round of official visits scheduled. He is heading to North Carolina, then Alabama, then Texas. I'm a fan of Deron Rippey's game. His nickname is Ron Ron. If you go by Ron Rippey, I mean, triple R, let's go. I love the letter R, as one might assume. But his game is really fun. He's an absolute bucket getter who has some like true point guard ability as well. From New York tough, good defender, great in transition, more bouncy than you would expect given his frame. I think he's listed at 6'2", like he's not some 6'5" lead guard you'd expect to be a high flyer, but you watch him on the break and yeah, he can finish above the rim. Dion, what do you make of his these first three visits being set up and maybe some schools that you could see him fitting at?
Yeah, on three has him at 6'2", 24/7 has him at 6 foot. So I've decided he's 6'1". Um, I'm just kidding. He's also 24/7 has him as being from New Jersey. That's important to me.
Hmm.
New Jersey's not New York. He's not a New York point guard, according to that. He's a New Jersey point guard. So that's less fun than a New York point guard. On three doesn't have him from Brooklyn though, so I don't I don't know why there's such a stark difference between the two's the biography on him, but I think that's kind of funny to be honest. But I think he's a bucket. And I think most importantly, when it comes to Deron Rippey Jr., he impacts the defensive floor as much as he impacts the offensive floor. And at this age, not a lot of guys do that. And
Yep.
I think that just shows the competitive aspect of him, how hard he's willing to fight, how hard he's willing to grind, like what he's willing to do to win basketball games. And winning's what matters most. I think obviously this is a recruitment that North Carolina badly wants to win in their own right. They have him coming in first. Like I want to get your thoughts on like what it means for North Carolina to be the first visit. Are you a believer in like we got the first visit, or are you a believer in we got the last visit?
Great question. Great question. Yeah, honestly, I'm more so like I would like to get the last visit if given the choice between the two. Maybe there's a world where they lock him up that first weekend. We know they have money now. We know they spent it rather freely this past portal season. So maybe they take care of Darren Rippey in late August and that ends the recruitment right there. I will say like UNC has had a lot of success, mainly Hubert Davis. Yeah, we have a lot of critiques for him, but I give him his due here. When it comes to recruiting New York and New Jersey, he has landed a lot of guys. Now, the flip side of that would be, well, let's look at the successes. I mean, RJ Davis is the poster child New York guard who was ACC Player of the Year All-American for UNC. Like UNC success stories out of New York. Don't make that face. He was an ACC Player of the Year and a first team All-American. Just because we underachieved this past year doesn't mean it was RJ's fault or that you have to skew your view of him.
Where's Drizzy from?
Drake's from he's from down the road from Chapel Hill. He's from Pittsburgh, North Carolina.
Okay, I guess RJ can continue to be the face then.
So, anyway, RJ is a success story of the New York Guards, but in that same breath, you have both Elliot Cadeau from New Jersey, played for New Heights Lightning, which is Rippey Jr.'s AAU team, and you also had Ian Jackson as the kid from the Bronx who ended up transferring. So, hopefully that means that the bridge is not burned. I think this is a good sign that it still exists. That weekend he's coming, Dion, correlates with the first Bill Belichick football game.
What?
He's the first Bill Belichick at UNC. The first Chapel Bill game is happening that weekend that Darren Rippey Jr. is visiting.
I don't know. I don't know why I heard that so differently. I'm sorry. So he's basically going to be who do they play?
TCU.
Ah, that's a pretty good game.
I know. I'm like, DeBansa watched UNC lose to James Madison by 40 on his official visit last year, and we did not win that recruitment. So maybe this one reverses the fortunes with hopefully a watchable product
That
on the
had
football field.
had absolutely nothing to do with the football game. That is not why AJ didn't go to UNC. He's just smart.
This video is brought to you by NBA 2KLab.com. 2K Lab worked with us last summer as well. They're one of our favorite entities in all of sports gaming. We want to show you their college basketball stadium locator challenge game. And I'm going to share a screen right now as we do this. South Carolina, bang. Oh,
Ooh,
okay, that's pretty good. Next, North Carolina. Why are we only getting the Carolinas?
please
Bang.
lock in.
St. John's, that's New
New
York.
York.
Bang.
Where's New Jersey?
We're on fire. Colorado. I actually don't know what state Colorado is.
It's in Colorado. There's a state of
Is that
Colorado.
this one?
It's to the right of Phoenix.
anyway, you get the picture. This game's really fun. They've got more games as well, like Guess the NBA Player, Mystery Fantasy Draft, and more. Stay tuned for all of the college football content and games that they'll be putting together to help you get the best experience out of college football 26. Back to the video.
At least the campus should be like live that weekend. So yeah, I would see. I mean, the Rippey Jr. fit at Carolina feels very projectable. Just look at what RJ Davis did for the past 2 years and give him some defensive ability, and maybe that's what Deron Rippey Jr. could be. Granted, you want to have a little more. If I'm Hubert, though, I make that pitch and just say, "Hey, I just got my first round draft pick with Drake Powell. Let's focus on that. That I can get you to the first round instead."
Yeah. I mean, and he projected to have another with Caleb Wilson, right? Like it's projected to go back-to-back first-round picks. I think there's a world Seth gets drafted next year. I don't know if it would benefit Hubert if this happens, but I think Ian gets drafted next year too, potentially. And I do actually think like if you're making a case for one and done ability, Ian was a one and done. Ian made a mistake, like going back to college in the portal, everything like that, right? Like Ian, if Drake went first round, Ian also could have went first round this year.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I say he made a mistake. You could never project what happened in terms of like 70 players like withdrawing their name from the NBA draft that got
Right.
Drake Powell from like the 40s to 22. You can
Mhm.
never project that happening, but in hindsight, it's hard not to feel like Ian didn't make a mistake. So I think Hubert has done a better job getting people to the league than like maybe you would think. Like I
Mhm.
think the bigger issue is he hasn't recruited league talent than it is didn't get said talent to the league. Um, I think if you get Deron Rippey on campus, like I think he's fine. If I'm a UNC fan, I'd be more concerned like, are we going to get him on campus? Like, are we going to get this guy in Carolina Blue? Like that feels like the bigger issue here than getting him out because
Mhm.
like I said, Caleb Love would have went first round. He didn't need to come back. Like he was a first round pick when he chose to come back.
Eh,
He
you
was
mean
borderline.
like in like 2022?
Is that the year? What's the year before you guys missed the turning?
That was 2022. It was
Yeah,
the
20, if
the
he
national
leaves,
runner-up year. Yeah.
if he leaves after that year, like he's a borderline first round pick. He stayed because he wanted to be locked into the first round.
Yeah, and that
I
never
don't think
worked
that's
out.
Hubert's fault. That was a
Oh,
bad
that's
choice.
okay. That's actually a pretty good point. I have my own critiques for how UNC has developed players and the freedom they give their freshmen, and it's kind of frustrating as a fan, but I will say that some of these are out of Hubert's control. And but the greater thing that is in his control is like he hasn't landed the elite of the elite really until Caleb Wilson. I think Ian Jackson was a top five recruit when he committed, but even going back to, I know his recruit, I think when he entered at Carolina, he was closer to like the 8-10 range. And I think when you look at mock drafts from this time last year, no one had Ian Jackson going in the lottery. Like, so they did have Drake Powell. Like both Wasserman and Gavoni had Drake Powell going top 10. So maybe you could use that for your anti-Hubert agenda for how his stock fell. Like, yeah, can't really debate you on that one. But
Who's stuck?
Drake
Caleb?
Drake
Oh,
Powell. Drake Powell. Yeah.
but like, do we think his stock though? I mean, he just won 22.
Yeah, but I'm just going back to like preseason. I think Gavoni had him like 8 or 9, and Wasserman had him 5. I think that might be a more misevaluation than anything, just because like Drake was always he was never going to come in and be like a 15 point per game scorer this past season, which I think he does that plus the defense plus the rebounding. Then yeah, he's probably a lottery pick, but was never really going to be his game. Anyway, you can have some critiques. There is some like explanation behind it. Regardless, getting back to Rippy.
Well, also to defend Hubert, and I can't believe I'm doing this. To be a top five pick, you have to have the ball in your hands. Were we really expecting Hubert to take the ball out of Elliott, Seth, and RJ's hands? Like,
And Ian.
and Ian at that too, right? Like I didn't even
Mouse to
mention
Ian.
another one and done. Like if anything, it was a miscalculation on Drake to go to North Carolina, right? Like
Yeah.
if there was a year where you didn't need two lottery picks or two first round picks, if you're North Carolina, it was last year. So I think if anything, it was more so like it's not Hubert's fault. Like I don't really know what Hubert was supposed to do in
hmm
terms of getting Drake or Ian to the league.
hmm And he might be able to amend for his mistakes if he can get Rippy, but we'll face stiff competition from both Nate Oates. I mean, very guard friendly system. Texas, don't really consider them a threat. does anybody really want to play for Sean Miller in 2025? Don't know about that. Nate Oates is the one who scares me in this. Plus, like, I'm sure there'll be more official visits scheduled. Maybe Carolina blows his family out of the water and has the financial means necessary to lock it up quick. But yeah, I just feel like with how his star has risen, that he'll probably take a few more OVs before it's all said and done.
I agree. I also think until Alabama football's good again, I don't fear Nate Oates in a recruiting battle at the moment. I think them Bama boosters said, "Hey, this was fun, man," but we just watched Kalen DeBoer just make a mockery out of our football program. So you're gonna have to hold the money for a little bit.
I think you're probably right to some extent. So maybe he ends up at Carolina. We'll see. Should be a fun recruitment to continue to track.